Right. So, welcome again, everyone. If you are just joining us, feel free to type into the chat box and let us know where you're joining us from, maybe which organization you're with. We're going to go ahead and get started because we want to make the best use of your time. So, welcome to Get the 411 on NAWDP. So, get the information on NAWDP. We have a lot of information to share with you today from membership as well as certification. So, we always like to do these live and in person just so you can meet some of the NAWDP staff. You may see our names here and there, you may see our pictures, but we want you to get to know us as well. So we love to do these interactive sessions. So this is our first one of the year. And we're just going to give you some information on NAWDP today. So I'm going to start by introducing my co-presenters and my amazing colleagues. So we have David Barch, and David is our Director of Certification. My name is Kim Meadows, and I am the Training Director here at NAWDP. And then we have Alexis Franks, who is our Director of Membership. So we will be pulling together, putting all of our information together to share with you all today information on NAWDP. So if you've joined us before, like I said, we've done this presentation a few times. If you've joined us before, you know that David Barch was our former Director of Membership and Certification. We have now divided David's duties up, and he is now the Director of Certification. So he's going to talk about CWDP later on. But we did want to introduce you all to our new team member, Alexis Franks. Alexis has been with NAWDP. She's been with Team NAWDP now since March the 18th. And she is our Director of Membership. So we are so excited to have Alexis. So I am going to let Alexis introduce herself.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. It's nice to see and be here with you all. Just a little bit about me. I've been working in workforce programs for about a decade now. I am from and living in North Carolina and have worked with WIOA mainstream youth and adult programs and specialized population programs for justice involved, for migrant and seasonal farm workers. So again, I'm so glad to be here with you all today and ready to get you prepared and knowledgeable about your NAWDP membership. So welcome and thank you for having me.
Right. Thank you, Alexis. And you'll hear from Alexis a little later on as well. So our topics of discussion today, excuse me, as we move forward through our time together. So we're going to start off by talking about just what the NAWDP mission is. What is our mission here at NAWDP? Then I'll turn it over to Alexis. She's going to give you some benefits of NAWDP membership. So a lot of things that we do through NAWDP does not require a NAWDP membership. So there are a lot of ways to access NAWDP trainings for free. But there are benefits to membership. And so I'm going to let Alexis tell you about the NAWDP benefits. Then we're going to talk about credentialing. So NAWDP does credential the Certified Workforce Development Professional certification. And so David will come in and talk about that. And then we will open it up for Q&A. So I really like to start by saying NAWDP's mission can be summed up in three words, really. So we have three pillars that we stand on that we really try to focus all of our trainings and everything that we do at NAWDP. We focus it around these three words of connect, advance, and innovate. So what does that look like? So when we say connect, we are really talking about how are we connecting workforce professionals. When I first started with NAWDP, one of my I think favorite benefits was just that opportunity to connect with other people who were doing the same thing as I was doing. So we were having the same challenges. I was able to connect with people, and I, kind of figured out, you know what, I am not in this thing alone. Other people are having the same challenges, similar successes. So NAWDP is really the opportunity to connect. So we like to say that we're the largest organization of workforce development professionals. We serve workforce professionals in all capacities. So whether that is a community college, whether that is a nonprofit organization, local state government, workforce boards, American Job Centers, anybody who is in the workforce development profession in the industry, there is something at NAWDP for you. So we like to connect through just being a part of the organization. We also connect in person twice a year. This year actually be three times, but we do two conferences every year. We have our annual conference that's actually coming up in May. I'm not sure if anybody's going to the conference, but if you are going to the conference, you can just type in a yes or a smiley face into the chat box, or you can throw it up on your emoji. So we're looking forward to seeing you in San Antonio if you will be in our San Antonio conference. We do expect between 1,800 to 2,000 workforce development professionals. So how exciting is that to be in a room full of people who do the exact same thing that you do or that we do, and you can learn from each other. So we have our annual conference, and then we also have our our youth symposium that we do every year in usually in the fall around November. It'll be in November this year in Phoenix, Arizona. Our youth symposium usually has about 1,000 people, 1,000 workforce professionals those professionals who focuses on that 16 to 24-year-old population. So those are two ways to connect. And then also this year we'll be doing an in-person academy. Super excited about that. It's going to be in Maryland. It's going to be August 12th through the 14th. I'll give you more information about that. But this is really for those business service professionals. So, those workforce professionals who focus on businesses. And so we'll have that in-person academy in August. Another thing that our second pillar is to really advance the profession. So we said, the first one is connect, the second one is advance. And so, how do we advance the profession? Is really providing those professional development opportunities. So, one of the things that we do each month on the fourth Wednesday of each month is we do what we call 30 minutes of excellence. We have different presenters from throughout the country on different topics. They come in and they spend 30 minutes with us just talking about different workforce topics. You do not have to be a member of NAWDP to enjoy this benefit. Anybody can come, and you can go to our NAWDP website under digital learning, and you can sign up for these digital learning opportunities. If you can't attend it live, we also have a NAWDP YouTube channel. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with our YouTube channel, but you can go to our NAWDP YouTube channel and you can archive our last 2 years of 30 minutes of excellent sessions. We also do peer-to-peer learning. So a lot of times when we do learning, we want to hear from you all as well. So I always tell people, think about what it is that you are doing really well in your organization. What's your organization doing really well? And then do things like come out and do a workshop at one of our conferences. So if you're going to be at the conference, you don't necessarily always have to be an attendee. Come out and do a workshop or reach out to me and let's do a 30 minutes of excellence session. So we really try to encourage that peer-to-peer learning as well. And Alexis will talk a little bit about this, about our job center and our monthly newsletter. And then also we advance the profession by our certified workforce development professional credential that David is going to talk about here in a moment. So connect, advance, and then innovate. When we say innovate, when I think innovate, I really think about all these things that we're learning, all these people we're connecting with. How are we implementing that in our organizations to move forward and to really change workforce development and change our system? So when we're thinking about innovate, I love to say when you come to a training, if you go to a workshop, if you go to a conference, really lean in, figure out what it is that you can take back to your organization to then innovate, push yourself outside that box, do things a little bit different, more efficient, and really push your organization forward. So those are our three pillars that we stand on here at NAWDP: connect, advance, innovate. So if you're new to NAWDP, if you haven't heard about NAWDP before, those are the three words that I want you to remember. And like I said, there are a lot of things that you can do without being a NAWDP member, but I'm going to let Alexis tell you a little bit about the benefits of NAWDP membership. And before she does that, we're going to just do a quick poll. I'm going to launch a poll and just want to know if you are a current member of NAWDP. So you can just type yes or no. Well, you can type yes or no, not yet. So those are your two choices: yes or no, not yet. So I'll give you just a couple of moments to see what our percentages are. All right. Just a couple. Okay, I think everybody has answered almost. So I'm going to end the poll and I'm going to turn it over to Alexis to talk about benefits of membership. So I'm going to end the poll. So I'm going to share the results. It looks like about 41% of everybody on today are members. So welcome. Glad to have you here. And then we have about 59% who are not yet NAWDP members. So I'm going to turn it over to Alexis and she's going to tell you about some of the benefits of NAWDP membership.
Thank you, Kim, and good afternoon. I think what Kim has said for us before is that NAWDP really seeks the needs of anyone that engages in any type of workforce activity. So if you're helping someone to find a job, if you're helping someone to plan their career, if you're a business that's engaging in hiring individuals, NAWDP has something to offer you. And no matter what role you have, we can help you to advance and further your career. So a couple of the reasons to become a NAWDP member, specifically if you're a learner or you're a practitioner and you're doing this work, helping individuals get jobs every single day or providing some career path development or coaching, maybe you want to learn from industry leaders at an annual conference. Well, of course, Kim has mentioned that we offer 2 annually, 3 this year. So those are opportunities if you become a member to attend those events at a discounted rate. And you can, of course, engage in multiple digital learning activities, as Kim mentioned as well, and get access to that industry leading resources on our website and in our community portal. On our website, we do have a feed. So we act as a community and are able to share and exchange ideas through that feed. I know that there are some members that come and just introduce themselves, which lends to the network that we all continue to grow and become a part of, just to be able to have someone that's in a similar field that you can reach out to and really get to know and get more access and information and resources or best practices from. And if you're extending your learning, David again will talk about this in just a few moments, but there's an eligibility to become a certified workforce development professional. So that helps to advance you in your own learning and your knowledge and your career. Now, if you're more on the innovative side, maybe you're looking for new things to do with the communities that you serve. Maybe you want to network with other professionals and gain their best practices or share your best practices and inspire innovation and change in the work that you do. You can also access our RFP, our posts of RFPs on our website and review those industry opportunities. And that's just going to increase the amount of impact that you can have in your community. So that is definitely available for you as an innovator as well in the work that you do every single day. And then for everyone, advance your knowledge, the credibility and the value in the workforce development community. We as members of NAWDP are an extensive organization where we help each other to advance our value and increase our impact across the country. So just a few reasons why, or 10 reasons, I'm sure you can see on the screen, of why you can become or would want to become a NAWDP member. And we not pressure, but we extend an invitation for you to take advantage of NAWDP membership and what it can do for you in your career. So just a little bit more about NAWDP membership. You can take the next step by becoming a NAWDP member. Our individual memberships are $95 a year, and they run from a July 1st to June 30th membership cycle. So that will give you the access to all of these member benefits. So we're coming up on a new membership cycle. So if you're not currently a member, we urge you to go ahead and consider becoming one before this cycle begins. Or if you feel that you or others in your organization could benefit from membership of NAWDP, we do also offer discounts for group memberships based on the number of members your organization might receive. Of course, we have the information right here for you to apply for membership at NAWDP.org. Feel free to also reach out to me. I'm glad to assist in any way possible if you are interested in getting more information on membership. And again, we just want to encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity to connect, advance, and innovate.
All right. Thank you, Alexis. And so let's move now into credentialing. So as we talked about earlier, NAWDP does have a credential, the Certified Workforce Development Professional. I'm going to steal David's thunder a little bit, and I because I've heard him do this presentation several times, but we always say this, and it's always true that very few of us actually went to school to be a workforce development professional. We get usually our undergrad in a different field, and I hate to use the term, but a lot of times we fall into this field, and so we really don't have that training for workforce development professionals. So this is where really that CWDP, where that credential kind of fills that knowledge gap. The credentialing, our CWDP is research based. It is continuous improvement. So when the CWDP started, it's not the same in 20 years ago, it's not the same as it is now. So there's always continuous improvement. What are the new topics? What are the new competencies? What are the new trends in workforce development? It also sets the bar. It sets the bar for standards in the workforce development profession. So workforce development is a profession. And this CWDP really sets those competencies and sets those standards in our industry. And then also one of the things I love about CWDP is that you don't get a CWDP. When I got mine in 2015, it doesn't last forever. Like it really pushes accountability. So it really pushes you to go back and do continuous learning. So your CWDP, as David will talk about, is good for 3 years. But during that 3 years, in order to recertify, you do have to continuously do additional training opportunities. All right. And so the CWDP is built on 5 competencies, 5 core competencies. These competencies are applicable to anybody who's in the workforce development profession, regardless of what your position is, regardless of whether you're mid management, upper management, frontline staff. These 5 core competencies really exemplify what it is to be a workforce development professional. And you see the 5 competencies here. We have customer service methodology, diversity and workforce development, labor market information and intelligence, principles of communication, and also workforce development, structure, policies, and programs. So those are the 5 competencies that the CWDP is built on. So what I'm going to do now is stop sharing my screen, and I am going to turn it over to our Director of Certification, David Barch, and he's going to share his screen, and he's going to walk you through that application process. So David, you can take it over.
Thank you, Kim. Okay. Can everyone see my screen? All right.
Yes, we can.
This is the home page of the NAWDP website. So we're going to go to the certification tab, and we're going to click on CWDP requirements and application. Kim has already named the 5 core competencies. I do want to point out, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to do it. If you click here on the little yellow here, you can see those competencies with their bullet points. And when you look at the competencies with their bullet points, that gives you a much better idea of what is covered under each one of those competencies. There is a video that you can watch. It's a little bit of an extended version of what we're going to do today because it will walk you through step by step. But let me say, it's not necessary to watch it. We've worked really hard, and Kim and I were actually part of the certification committee about 5 years ago, and we really did a deep dive into making the requirements much more simple than they used to be. And then we broken down the requirements by A, B, C, D. Once you've met those requirements, there's a 3-step application process. And we are going to go through these, but if you're interested in becoming a CWDP, and I say this with all kindness, we can tell you about it all day long, but you just need to read all of the requirements and the steps and just follow them. And I think after we just go through this presentation, what we want to accomplish, we do want you to have a basic understanding of the requirements and the process, but we want this to ease your fears. It's not scary. It's not over difficult. It just takes some commitment on your part to follow through. So let's look at the 4 requirements. And you do have to meet each of the requirements in order to be certified. Periodically, I will get some questions about, hey, I don't meet this, but I almost do. And this is a committee decision. And of course, as NAWDP staff, we certainly support that. There are no exceptions. Periodically, someone will ask, and I'm just saying up front that there are no exceptions. We're not allowed to grant exceptions. So everyone meets the same requirements and everyone follows the same process to become certified. So the first requirement is a minimum education level of at least a high school diploma or a GED. So that would be everyone on this call, and honestly, everyone who's working as a workforce development professional. There is also a requirement that you must have 12 months experience or more during the last 2-year period. So if we were looking at today's date between April the 11th, 2022 and today, you would need to have at least 12 months verifiable experience in workforce development. And as Kim mentioned, or I believe that might have been Alexis, one of my great coworkers mentioned, if you are helping people prepare for employment, if you are working with business and industry or both, or if you're supporting the people on your team that is doing this work. For example, you may be in the finance department at a workforce board. You don't work with job seekers and you don't work with business and industry, but the system could not work without that person in finance. So they are support to the services that are being done in the field, either with job seekers or employers. So if you're in that realm, you are a workforce development professional. And the 12 months does not have to be with one employer. It can be with different employers. You could have worked 4 months, off 3 months, started a new job. As long as there's 12 months and it can be verified within the last 2 years, that experience will count and meet this requirement. And the other most common question that I have is, I am self-employed. I'm a career trainer. I work for myself, a resume writer, whatever that scenario be. You can verify your own experience if you work for yourself. So at least a high school diploma or GED, 12 months experience out of the last 2 years. Then you need to show your competency knowledge. There's 2 ways to do that. We have 4 approved training providers, Dynamic Works, TAD Grants, UC San Diego, and Power Notes. All of these are highlighted in red. And if you click on any one of these training providers, it will go directly to their course. It will describe their course and it will tell you the cost of the course. So NAWDP's board historically has said, we don't have the capacity to train ourselves, so we offer reciprocity. We review the courses, they're approved, but we're not involved with the anything to do with the training as far as you pay them. You will get a certificate of completion from any one of these courses that you take to show that you have the knowledge that you need to have to apply for the CWDP. There is another option, and please, I want to make this very clear. You do one of these or the other. You don't have to do both. So option one is to take a course and get a certificate. Option two, there is a 100 multiple choice exam that you can take. We partnered with Dynamic Works. They're the testing platform. There is not a study guide for the exam because there's a total bank of 300 questions. So the study guide would be as big as one of these courses. So we just don't have a way to develop a comprehensive study guide that wouldn't be the equivalency of a course. If you're thinking about the course, if you click on the 5 core competencies and you look at the bullet points, then what I suggest you do is print this. Nobody but you will ever see it. Do a self-examination, being very honest, under each one of these bullet points, and either put a check mark by I've either used this knowledge in the past, I use it now. If I used it in the past and I had to, I could still have a working knowledge of each one of these bullet points under these. Keeping in mind with your self-evaluation, you need 80% to pass the exam. It is all multiple choice. You have 2 attempts within 1 year to successfully complete the exam. We did a pilot group. Those that successfully passed the test had at least 3 to 5 years experience. And what I think is more important, they had more than one position in the workforce field. And if you think about that, the more different jobs bring on different responsibilities and require a different skill set. So that's why I think that was the case. So I am going to X out of this, and if I disconnect, I will connect right back on because part of this covers what I am. Yeah, I knew I would. So let me get back to my screen. Give me just a second. Now, I think it's going to let me. All right, but to continue on while I'm getting back to the website, you either can take a course or you can take an exam. The majority of people that do submit their application, all right, David. Now, can you see my screen? Awesome, thank you. That's why I didn't click on them the first time. There's a bar across the top of Zoom that I can't hit the arrow to get out of that. So that's always that always happens. So if you're confident by doing a self-evaluation that you could score 80% or more, then consider the exam. If you're newer to workforce, have less than 3 years experience, or if you're like me, I love to learn. I enjoyed the course. If I had it to do over with over 20 years experience, I would take the course just so I could learn. So you have the option. If you take the exam and you pass, you will get a certificate via email that shows you successfully completed the exam. So Either take a course or pass the exam. That's going to prove your competency knowledge. You do have to be a NAWDP member, and you will adhere to a code of ethics, and you can click in red and actually read that from our website. I'm not going to risk another Xing out of my screen. So you can read the code of ethics, but I've been involved with the CWDP for more than 10 years, and we have never had anyone object to that code of ethics. So once you've met all four of these requirements, high school diploma, GED, 12 months experience out of the last 2 years, you either take the course and get a certificate, or not both, or you take the exam and get the certificate. You become or are a NAWDP member, and you will agree during the application to adhere to a code of ethics. Once you have met those four things, then here is the 3-step application process, and it really is simple. You'll complete the CWDP application. If you stretch it to the limit, it might take you 5 minutes or 6 minutes to complete the application. When you hit submit, you will be emailed a PDF of that application. We use Cognito Forms, and when you hit submit, you will get an email with that PDF of your application. So save that to your desktop. Don't be like me and think you'll find the email later when you're ready to submit. You'll lose it if you're like me. So just save it to your desktop. And the CWDP application fee is $125 to NAWDP. Your certification is good for 3 years. So your costs are going to be up front with the application fee and the test fee, which is $100, or the course. And the prices for the course, just click on them and you'll see that. So you will complete the application, save the PDF to your desktop. Then in step 2, you will upload that application and the certificate from your course or the certificate from the exam to NAWDP. That's step 2. Step 3, there's a very short employment verification form. Cut and paste that link when you click on the form and email it to either your present employer, or if you have multiple employers to meet the 12 months experience, email it to each of them. When they complete that form, and it's not asking anything other than verifying your employment. So it's not, were you a good employee? Nothing like that. It's just verification to prove the 12 months experience. If you need to send it to more than one employer, you can. If you're self-employed, you can complete and submit that form yourself. So the 3 steps: complete an application. Step 2, upload the application and your certificate from either the exam or the course. In step 3, cut and paste that employment verification form link and send it to your employer. So I am going to take just 1 minute to talk about recertification. And then if we have time and you want to ask a question, you're certainly welcome to do that. Recertification, you need 60 hours of professional development in any combination of those 5 core competencies. You could have 60 hours in one. It doesn't matter. There is no formula, no ratio. You just have to have 60 hours of professional development in one or more of those competencies during the 3-year period that you're certified. NAWDP has enough free training in a year that you could get 20 hours just by doing everything that's free with NAWDP. We also have a YouTube channel that has some things on there that's been recorded in the past. Workforce GPS, if you're not familiar with that, it is everything through Workforce GPS. Most of the things are 1 hour webinars, some are longer. Everything on there is free. It's funded through Department of Labor. They will literally wear you out with training opportunities. And nearly everything they do could be related to one or more of these competencies. So there's really not a reason for someone to have to pay for training, for recertification, unless you just don't do it and want to wait till the last minute. Then it might be hard to find all the resources you need if you wait till the last minute. The cost to recertify for 3 more years is $75. So once you become the CWDP, it's very, very, very affordable to maintain. So, Kim, that's all I have.
Awesome. Thank you so much, David. And so David, if we had a couple of questions to come in, so I do want to just go back and address those.
Yes.
I
And
think
if you
one
don't
of the
mind, I'll leave my screen up, Kim, in case I need
okay,
to point to
yeah, sure
that.
thing. So one of the questions I think, well, this goes back to membership, but there was a question from our membership conversation of if somebody just joined to be a member within the last couple of days, that membership cycle does not end July of 2024. You actually have those
Correct.
additional months. So if
Yes.
you just join within, David, you want to speak to that?
April the 1st or later. Now, staff does go in and make the adjustments. Our wonderful Alexis, the new director, gets to do that on a daily basis. The system will give you an ending date of June the 30th, 2024. If you became a member April the 1st or later, we will automatically update that date manually to June the 30th, 2025.
Right, thank you. And then Jermaine had a question. Excuse me, Jermaine had a question about the membership fee. Um, is the membership fee different than the application fee? Jermaine, it is different. So, being a member
Yes.
of NAWDP is separate from doing the CWDP application. So, the membership to be a member of NAWDP for that 1 year is $95, but then to be a CWDP and go through that certification process would be the $125. So those are two different fees.
Yeah.
And then Tiffany, I answered your question, but I'll just say this out loud. Tiffany asked, once you're approved to become a CWDP, then at that point you can add CWDP to your title. So you will be Tiffany Harkless CWDP. So you do add that to your title once you have completed the application process. Deidre says, does the business services conference get repeated every year, or is this a rarely offered event? Dave, you want to speak to that?
We had the first academy in 2019 and then COVID. So this will be the first academy after that. And there isn't a definite decision, but my gut feeling is it will not be every year.
Thank you for that. And that looks like it's all of the questions. Now, if you have any additional questions, definitely go ahead and put those into the chat box and you can, we'll answer those here. And if David, if you don't mind, stop sharing your screen now, and
Okay.
then I can go back to the PowerPoint to put our information up. All right, do we have any other questions? Any other comments? We will be happy to take those now. Okay, doesn't look like anything else is coming into the chat box. I did just want to put this out before you, but like I said, we have our annual conference that's coming up. You can register if you're interested on at NAWDP.org. Our Business Services Academy, we will open registration for that on May the 1st. And then let's see here. Couple of more questions coming in. Justin, well, somebody did ask a question earlier. Are there any reviews for the 4 training providers? I don't think we have reviews, but if you go to
No,
their website, they may have reviews from other clients. We don't have those on NAWDP website.
I can say that we do not have complaints about the training providers.
Okay,
And
and then
the competencies for the CWDP are not based or aligned with the GCDF. I have been a GCDF. Kim, I can't remember if you were or not, but the competencies differ, and you can just read the competencies for the CWDP. And they have some things in common, but they're not aligned.
gotcha. And then see, Shauna says if we do the webinars from the NAWDP website, does that automatically go to the 60 hours of professional development?
It
So,
does not automatically. You would still need to complete the application for recertification. And my suggestion is just start saving them in a spreadsheet. But our system is not advanced enough that it can automatically put into a category every training that someone takes. Maybe one day.
all right. So we know we have given you a lot of information today. Definitely feel free, and we really mean this. Feel free to reach out to us with any questions. If you think of something later on that you didn't ask, or it came up later as you're talking to colleagues, feel free to reach out to us. Our email addresses are here. So we have David at NAWDP.com, Alexis at NAWDP.com, and Kim at NAWDP.com. So if you have any
Yours.
questions, feel free to reach out to us. I don't see any additional questions coming into the chat box. And with that being said, we will end our Get the 411 with NAWDP webinar. And we look forward to hearing from you all and seeing you all real soon on our upcoming professional development training opportunities. And we hope you all have a wonderful rest of your Thursday.